Welcome, everybody, to Share What You're Making with Chair and Bacon. I am Chair.
And I am Bacon. We're back from a long hiatus. It's good. It's good to be back in the saddle, as they say.
Perfect intro once again. How have you been, Bacon? It's been a few months since we recorded our last podcast. A lot has happened. How you doing?
Yeah, it's been a while. I'm doing well. Things are good. I'm kind of excited. I think I'm allowed to say this, but I'm kind of excited because I'm trying to step into the DAO lead position for the new Reflexer DAO. Now that they're dissolving that company and handing the RAI protocol over to DAO control, hopefully it looks like I'll be the one stepping in to kind of help guide the DAO and make sure things happen. Should be fun.
Amazing stuff. That's very exciting. Reflexer and Rye is a huge sort of the player in the space.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
So you're gonna have your hands full, sir.
Yeah, looks like it. Looks like it. What have you been up to? You've been super busy.
Yeah, I've been doing a whole bunch of stuff. Have been starting up at a new project called Infinity Keys, where we're building cryptographic puzzles in the very, very early bootstrapping mode of that.
Yeah, there's one puzzle out for that so far, right? An introductory puzzle.
That's right. If you go to infinitykeys.io, you can find the first puzzle there and you can start looking for clues. The treasure is everywhere, the clues are everywhere, and there's really only a few places to click and start looking. But if you start looking at things like the Twitter account and the associated Twitter accounts, you can start putting things together, try to solve the first puzzle. You can submit some information once you get past that, and people can start their journey to finding treasure. Infinity keys. There's treasure everywhere. Yeah. Also have been keeping an eye on this crazy market that we have going on, and I hope everyone's doing okay with the Terra disaster and everything that has all the dominoes that fell along with that. Uh, has Rye been safe through this?
So RAI has been safe, yes. RAI is exceptional protocol, very stable. It has gone up in value though currently. So it's actually really interesting because to counteract all these market forces, all these people are leaving obviously other stable coins and they're pretty optimistically moving into RAI, right? And so that has driven our price up. And so now our controller has set the redemption rate to be super low. It's the lowest I've seen it in a long time, at least, if not ever. In the time I've been involved, it's like negative 14% right now, or negative 16% right now, which is huge, right? So it's devaluing the redemption price of RAI at a rate of negative 16%. And so that's good. So that means it's a great time. It's a great time to open safes, mint RAI. RAI is doing well. You can mint for cheap and just getting cheaper, and then sell in the open market for more. RAI price is kind of high. Oh, and eventually it'll just revert. It'll trip back down to back to three. And I think it's like $3.09 right now, which is super high for RAI.
Give the people somewhere to go if they know nothing about Reflexer and they want to take a look to know more about Rye. Where should they go?
So if people want to take a look, the best places are probably actually Twitter, to be honest. So Amin, one of the co-founders, frequently tweets about RAI and has a variety of interesting ways of communicating educational content there through his Twitter. The reflexer.finance site is obviously a great place to go. There you can access the app and there's some resources there, links to the docs. And there's also a cool explainer video somewhere floating around YouTube. Oh, there's a Reflexer finance YouTube account. So if you go there, there's an explainer video of RAI that does like a quick explainer of like how it's a self-balancing mechanism. So as I alluded to, the price is going up right now. So the controller is counteracting that by driving the redemption price down and helps hold it stable, right? So we have a market price and a redemption price and we balance the two. That's basically how we keep it stable. So everything's going according to plan right now. It's pretty great. And yeah, you can go to those different areas for more information.
Awesome. Well, to give away some inside baseball, I think you're already making moves and representing Rye out in the open, and that you successfully pitched our guest, the one and only CupOJoseph, founder or
Summoner.
summoner of HeroDAO, founder of Nifty Chess, which has been absorbed into TreassureChess, and he came on. That is what you all will be hearing right on the back of this segment. Incredibly excited to have Joseph come in and do an interview with us and talk very deeply about the work that has been done in Treasure Chess and creating probably one of the smoothest onboarding experience, if not the smoothest onboarding experience into Web3 that exists at TreasureChess.com via what they are calling, I believe, Crypto Lite, or the Feather, the Feather.
Yeah, I'm excited about Feather because he's really packaging that easy onboarding content into a system that other people can pick up and use. So that'll be great.
And we dove into HeroDAO and what's going on with Moon Girl, and the first issue that will be being released, how people can get involved into HeroDAO, and why HeroDAO is one of the more interesting creative DAOs that is.
Yeah, because it's realizing that Web3 vision of the creator owned. So they're starting their own superhero franchise. Well, they're kickstarting a superhero franchise that's wholly community owned. They found a public domain superhero, and now the DAO owns it. Everyone who contributes gets ownership.
Well, I'm really excited that we're back in the saddle, that we are back recording. People can expect regular episodes coming out over the next few weeks and months as we get the old muscles flexing again. We have some very exciting Ethereum founder level exciting guests that are slated to be joining us in the coming weeks. So can't wait to get the content out. Excited to be with you again, Bacon. And without further ado, let's jump right in to our interview with Joseph. This podcast is brought to you by Metagame. Find us at metagame.wtf, wiki.metagame.wtf, and follow MetaFam on Twitter at MetaFam. Metagame. It's a brain virus. Welcome back to the show, everybody. We are here with a man that has taken himself from Beantown all the way to the Beltway. We are here with CupOJoseph. He is the founder of HeroDAO. He is the founder of Nifty Chess.
Yes, Nifty Chess, TreassureChess.
He contributing member of Meta Cartel, shadowy super dev, leader in the DAO space. Welcome to the show, Joseph. Thank you for being here.
Oh yeah, thanks so much. I'm really excited. I haven't been on a podcast ever before, so this is really fun for me.
We are very excited and happy to be popping your podcast cherry.
Indeed.
One thing I would correct in that, I don't think that DAOs like have founders. You said like founder of HeroDAO.
Uh-huh.
There's like a connotation of founder being like, oh, you're driving, you're deciding the direction, and I just clicked the buttons on DAO House and summoned HeroDAO. But really there's like 6 or 7 other people that are leading it and choosing the direction, and 40 DAO members in HeroDAO that have contributed in some way, and I am definitely not the one driving. So
I could attest to that as a contributor in HeroDAO myself. I am very impressed with how you delegate things. I think you're certainly, if you don't want to be called a leader or a founder, I would say like the way that you work within the DAO space is very, very clean and efficient.
Oh, thanks, man.
Compared to the other handful of DAOs that I'm in, HeroDAO operates very smoothly, and you could tell. I can tell that you've been in the space now. You're an OG in the space from what you expect out of DAOs, sort of, and how you operate within them. So it's definitely evident.
Oh, well, I appreciate that a lot. It's always kind of been the goal for HeroDAO to create a community-owned superhero franchise, and you can't have something that's really community-owned if there is one person deciding what happens next. And that doesn't mean there isn't leadership, right? There's still people who have been delegated, like, go make this partnership, go work with this artist, go, one person is writing comics, and we're, producing our first comic is going to come out in a couple weeks.
Let's talk about Moon Girl. Since we're on the precipice, we're at the altar at the precipice of the vestibule of the church with Moon Girl. The art is being created as we speak. Talk a little bit about how Moon Girl was chosen,
Okay.
and what has gone into the development of that, where we're at on that.
Well, wait, first I think we should explain. We've kind of beat around the bush here, but I think we should first lead in. So HeroDAO is a DAO that has adopted this public domain superhero, right?
Correct, yeah.
to try to create the first community-owned superhero franchise, essentially, right?
Right. So
Okay, yeah. So I just want to establish that before we go into things.
I'm like a big comic reader. I read a lot of comics. I've always loved superheroes. Not a big Marvel movie guy, but I do really love comics. And there's basically this monopoly or duopoly, which is, true for a lot of American society of there's only a few producers of whatever. But there's either Marvel or DC, and there's a couple other smaller indie comic producers, but for the most part, if you want to be a comic book writer and you want to tell these kind of stories, you can either one, go at it yourself and go try to raise money to produce a comic book. And if you go on Kickstarter, there's an entire comics field for people raising money for their comic book projects. And there's over 20,000 people raising money on Kickstarter for comic books right now. It's a very long tail, and I was really surprised when I realized that. And if you go that way, it's going to be really competitive. It's going to be hard to have distribution. It's going to be really hard to build a brand, but you get to own 100% of the IP and the characters and the art and the things that you create. Or you can go get paid a little bit better, Marvel or DC, but you don't own anything at the end of the day. And when, Mickey Mouse makes $1 billion on your art and your creation or your story or however you contributed, you're basically getting no kickbacks from that. And you might have gotten paid a little bit better than doing it yourself, but you're not like seeing the benefits of your work long term. And I think that's really sad for the industry and kind of disappointing. So I would really like to have somewhere that comic book artists and creators and storytellers can go own something collectively with the people that are funding it and create a fan-owned, artist-owned franchise. That was kind of the original goal with summoning HeroDAO and asking people to voluntarily throw funds in, and now hiring a bunch of artists who have worked on Marvel projects before, who have worked for DC, and who have raised tons of money in Kickstarter successfully for comic books. And now everyone who participates at the project management level, at the contributing funds, at the any kind of marketing or like non-artistic roles, plus all of the artists who have come up with the story, who have rebooted these public domain superheroes, who have done all of the creative work, everybody earns shares in the DAO. And you don't need to buy crypto to participate. You just contribute with your time and whatever skills that you have, and then you earn tokens, you earn DAI from our treasury, and you earn shares in the DAO. I think that's really powerful and has already onboarded a bunch of new people that have never used crypto before. So that's really, really exciting for me. And your other question of like, how did we start with Moon Girl? So there's hundreds and hundreds of really cool superheroes that are left over from the golden days of superhero comics in like the 50s and 60s, and that have all just fallen into the public domain. And you can just go look up these and find cool ones and say, wow, I wonder why, the copyrights on those were never continued. So we put together this huge list starting off. And then once the DAO hit its first kind of fundraising goal where we realized like, okay, yes, we have enough money in the DAO treasury to produce a comic book, we said, all right, who are we going to do? Absolutely anyone in the whole world could have submitted a hero from the public domain or their own. And then we just had a vote on DAO House in the DAO. And I think the final vote was between Trash Man, which is like, he's great. He's like a pseudo communist guy who like can change his shape into anything. And then in his last comic that was out in the 60s, I think he changes his shape into the entire city of New York City to like save the city. And can like invent anything. Yeah. And he can like read, he can talk to the cracks in the sidewalk, and He's like trash on the road. It was a really cool hero, really cool stories, and that was one that was suggested. There were a bunch more, and then the other final one was Moon Girl, and the original Moon Girl was just super sexist. Her entire storyline revolved around she is this super strong Amazonian woman from the Moon Clan, and she swears that she's never going to marry a man unless he can defeat her in battle and is stronger than her. But then she gets like super strong moon powers, and the whole comic is like, oh, woe is me, like I'll never get married, I'll never have a man. And it's like, all right, the concept of a moon girl and getting her powers from the moon, and the style is really awesome, and we really like that. And the meme potential for a character named Moon Girl, I mean, come on, it's so obvious.
It really just writes itself a little bit, yeah.
It does. It writes itself a little bit. So, but also like this whole angle of like this female superhero only exists to find a husband is like that's really shitty. You know, just the whole premise is like pretty sexist and leans into like women are weak and these kind of attitudes that were very prevalent in comics in the 50s. And we say, okay, we can do better than that. We can take this awesome character and make a version of it that is modern and less horrible and reboot it in a way that it's still the same character, but it's our story. And people kind of really got into that in the DAO, and just everybody voted for Moon Girl or Trash Man, and Moon Girl won out. So here we are producing our first of 12 Moon Girl issues that will be out. And yeah, some really talented writers, some really talented artists, and I'm just so excited to watch it just come to life before me, and in a way that I'm not even really driving the story, even though I was the one who summoned the DAO.
And the one of the really cool elements of the final product that's taking shape now is that all of the art, the story, the contributions from the creative side, it's all original, unique, and really well thought out and well crafted quality content. And I can speak to that because I have insight. I've been able to follow the process along, so I'm sort of foreshadowing that for people. But it's really like it is.
Don't shill too hard.
Well, I we're leaving this in. No, I think it points to like I was saying earlier that the way things are led and sort of the way the processes are laid out, it allows for that within HeroDAO, and it's really cool. Like it's cool to see that, because I think we've all been part of DAOs that didn't work, that should have never existed. Maybe we even created DAOs that should have never existed. And so to see one come together with a sort of a recipe for success that seems to be working, it's cool too.
Yeah, you've got to have a goal. You've got to have a specific goal that you're working towards. I think that's the reason that Constitution DAO, which was this big thing of like, oh, we're gonna buy the Constitution, and it's like a roller coaster. It's going up, and so we're gonna buy the Constitution, and they didn't buy the Constitution, and now it goes down and just kind of spirals into nothingness because there's no goal, and there's so many DAOs that people have created.
Was that not a Mulak DAO? So people couldn't just exit?
No, it was through Juicebox, which is a really cool kind of alternative to Kickstarter that I'm really interested in, and I really love the work that Juicebox is doing to kind of democratize crowdfunding. But like, I'm not trying to criticize them. I know the people leading it worked very hard, but there's so many DAOs just in general that have been created of we're gonna just exist without having a specific product or having a specific goal of this is how much money that we need to do this exact thing. And if your goals and your roadmap and whatever just are kind of in la la land, then you end up with a bunch of useless ICOs from 2017, 2018, and since then a ton of DAOs with money sitting in their treasury and nobody actually building anything cool. And to what you were saying, like HeroDAO kind of has really specific goals for what we want to do next. The goals were suggested by community members and then voted on in signal proposals in the DAO. So we say, oh, we need X dollars for printing this many comics. Okay, let's vote on moving that much funds from the treasury to the Gnosis safe that the DAO controls. And that's a one-of-one safe controlled by the DAO, not by, insiders or whatever. And I think that has really helped to like maintain momentum and keep everybody honest about what we're building. And in terms of like comic quality and stuff, it's allowed us to hire these comic book artists that have actually worked for Marvel, have actually worked for really like made Superman comics before and are at the highest level of kind of the craft. And there's been a bunch of other crypto comic related products, Punk's comic, The Greatest LARP with Gitcoin. And those are awesome, and I love to see them succeeding as someone who loves crypto and loves comic books. But their theme is crypto, or their theme is public goods, and they're made for the specific audience of their community. Whereas the HeroDAO comics are written as 12 comic series about this superhero, and it's not about crypto. It's not about public goods. It's not about how great Bitcoin is. Like that's not what we're producing. We're producing an actual viable franchise material for creating a long-term media franchise.
Yeah, and that's one of the questions I wanted to follow up on that, 'cause it's pretty cool. So the comics you're publishing, will they be available in print and digital versions?
Yeah, there's going to be a physical version. We actually just started setting this up, but there's going to be physical prints. What the plan is right now is there's going to be an NFT sale where all of the money goes into the DAO treasury. And if you burn your NFT, then you can redeem a physical along with some extra stuff. So we've actually started purchasing meteorites, tiny meteorites from the moon, lunar meteorites. And some people that burn their NFT are going to get a real physical moon rock, which in the story is what gives Moon Girl her powers.
Interesting.
And you're going to get a real physical lunar meteorite that's going to come with your physical stuff. So it's not just digital, it's not just NFTs. It's like that's just a mechanism for community funding and community crowdfunding that doesn't rely on Kickstarter taking 10% off the top, right?
Yeah, that's interesting. Also, how much does a moon rock cost these days?
Yeah, it's I'm gonna leave that to a trade secret, but you can go search for that if you'd like.
Fair enough.
And I don't know how much it's gonna come out to yet, but that will all be really transparent when we kind of get to the redemption phase.
Yeah, because Chair sent me the talking points earlier this week, and so I checked out HeroDAO. And I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. And so I joined the Discord. And I saw people talking about buying moon rocks. I was like, interesting. How much does a moon rock go for these days? That cannot be cheap.
Yeah. So that's there's a lot of things that we're doing to make it into an actual experience. But I think just honestly the quality of the comic, like this is something that I want to read, not just collect, and I think it stands on its own.
I think that's one of the coolest thing about HeroDAO beyond the content that's going to come out of it is that it's being used. It's a DAO as a mechanism. It's NFTs as a mechanism. It's a token raise or like a treasury and tokens as a mechanism, not the main course or feature of what we're doing. It's a means to the production of something, and that's we don't see a lot of that yet. So it's just like it's exciting to be a part of that and to see it playing out in real time.
I've never seen anyone who has started with NFTs and then went to making a comic and then like that's the way everyone goes. What we've done differently is what I've never seen is we started with the product, right? We're finishing up the comic. It's being colored right now and production should be done June 1st. And if you're a member of HeroDAO and you've pledged the DAO, you can go into kind of the private channels and see the production happening live. and that's super rewarding experience for me. But we're starting with this product, and then we'll sell it later, like, because we're creating a viable long-term business.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not a business, it's a DAO, right?
Yeah.
So it's a viable long-term franchise.
Yeah, and it's really nice to see like HeroDAO and the way you're really solidifying that Web3 concept of shared ownership, right? So, and early investors get ownership, creators get ownership, fans could potentially get ownership if they get involved, stuff like that, right? So, like, everyone can get shared ownership from whatever you bring to the table. It's rewarded with actual ownership instead of just, contract gig economy, right? Just like, here's your paycheck, we're going to make the money off of this, right? It's shared ownership, so everyone succeeds together if the product succeeds.
Yeah, everyone who contributes in any way gets to request shares from the DAO, and the DAO gets to vote on approving those shares. And so if you come in and help write a marketing plan, or help execute an existing one, or help set up a partnership that benefits production, or anything, like, you just go in, just ask for the 200 shares, ask for 400 shares, whatever, and everyone will probably agree that, yeah, you contributed, let's do it, get some ownership.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I got to try to figure out how to get involved myself. I'll have to do something.
Yeah, man, absolutely, we definitely want more help.
This podcast is brought to you by Metagame. Find us at metagame.wtf, wiki.metagame.wtf, and follow MetaFam on Twitter at MetaFam. Metagame. You'll leave with more questions than you started with. Joseph, the other project that I know you've been working very hard on most recently is TreassureChess, treasure.chess.com, which is a gigantic partnership, at least from my perspective. I know it just launched very recently, and I saw you mention on Twitter, by the way, Joseph's Twitter, at CupOJoseph, CUPO Joseph. Give him a follow. You're mentioning on Twitter you created the smoothest and easiest onboarding, I'm paraphrasing, transition to Web3, where people probably, if you're not a Web3 native or whatever, if you're not used to it, you don't even realize that you're being onboarded into Web3 at TreassureChess.
Oh, that's the dream. That's the dream.
Let us in on that a little bit.
Sure. So we launched this app, TreassureChess, which adds NFTs and an NFT marketplace, and lets you save any game of chess that you've played on chess.com as a treasure, which is a special NFT. It has achievements that make it into a whole game that's really fun. And there's been several thousand that have been created in the last 3 weeks. And yeah, it all kind of comes down to this experience that I've decided to call Crypto Lite. And this idea of onboarding people to crypto sucks, and most people hate it because of non-custodial wallets like MetaMask are confusing. Private keys are scary. Paying transaction fees sucks, and people on the internet are not used to paying transaction fees to have to do a thing on a website. On-ramps have absurd KYC requirements. Buying your first crypto is hard. The environmental impact or the perception of it is really negative. There's price volatility, and people are getting wrecked and constantly seeing news stories about whatever Ponzi scheme collapsed. And the UX between various crypto apps is like so inconsistent. Whereas if you have Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, whatever social media or whatever Web2 app or chess.com that you're most familiar with, the user experience there is the same. You log in with a username and password that you probably save and use the same one everywhere. So for normal people, like, these are all reasons that onboarding to Web3 sucks. And there's no in between, right? There's no partial onboard to help you learn the tools. There's no light version of Web3. And I think that's a really big missing stepping stone. So we added log in with your existing chess.com account, log in with your existing Web2 account, and then we give you a non-custodial Ethereum address. And power users will be able to move funds in and out of it as easily as they want. But the normal person doesn't need to know that anything special or cryptographic is happening, right? They're just like, okay, I have a new account. I logged in with this. So direct fiat on ramps, and one of like the primary criticisms of NFTs right now, and the whole point of the number go up or line go up video that gets quoted a lot is NFTs just exist to get you to buy more crypto. So we said, okay, let's get rid of that, and we made the first ever buy an NFT with a credit card or with a debit card. So you don't have to buy crypto first. You don't have to do it. And it's all meta transactions, and all your transaction fees are all taken care of. So you never have to pay transaction fees. And the user doesn't have to know all of that stuff is happening. So we kind of went down, we did a ton of user feedback, we did a ton of user interviews, and said, these are all the things that people hate about crypto. I think it's still worth doing because digital ownership has not been fully explored. And if I'm going to spend money on digital goods, I would like to actually own them. So I think it's still worth pursuing. And then, okay, well, let's go down this list of things that everybody hates and just come up with a solution for them one at a time and just check it off. So we built this whole onboarding stack that we're calling Crypto Lite. And so far it's going great, with chess.com being our first partner for that. And then hopefully adding more really soon and turning this into kind of a general purpose experience for onboarding people.
I have so many questions.
It's genius.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I feel like I just talked for a really long time.
No, that was good. No, it was a good.
That's my spiel about it.
The content is high quality, sir. So when a user first logs in, they're credited with $15
That's true.
to go and get to minting,
Right.
which is that there's another sort of easing the transition for folks.
Yeah.
So you potentially have a completely oblivious user to start minting NFTs without them even realizing it, let's say. And then, so yeah, that's the most seamless way that I can think of. Really, it's like you're minting NFTs even without, and you don't have to contribute.
Right. You never have to buy crypto. You never have to pay transaction fees. As soon as you log in, we just give everybody $15 in credits that they can go and create treasures from their favorite chess games. So you can now go sell those in the marketplace, and now you have a way to earn crypto without ever having to buy it first. And I don't think that has really been done or explored. There's Gitcoin, where you can do work in software and make money on bounties, and that was how I got my first crypto, was earning it. And that experience has stuck with me for all of these years. And I really would like more ways to give people financial freedom and all the benefits, all the obvious benefits that come with Web3, without them having to buy or deal with any kind of volatility. So the marketplace uses USDC. So we're all in dollars. There's no volatility, right? So crypto is crashing last week, and multi-year bear market, but actually our user growth has increased, and 0 users on TreassureChess got wrecked because there's no volatility in our app. Which is actually a UX decision. It's not, we're not at the whims of the market here. Our user experience is so good that we don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, that's thank God you guys didn't decide to use Terra.
I was wondering if that was going to come up on this call. I was like, just waiting.
No. We don't need to talk about that. It's fine. Yeah.
You mentioned giving the users the opportunity to earn.
Yes.
And that sort of leads us into the play to earn meme that.
No. Not play to earn. I hate that.
Actually, that's what I wanted to ask you. That's what I wanted to ask you about is how do you feel as a gamer as a whole? I know that you are a high level player in more traditional, let's say non Web3 games.
Yeah. I still play RuneScape. I've had the same RuneScape account since 2006.
Nice.
So in my entire life, there's probably been nothing more consistent than this one account that I have. And it would be really sad to me if the company that owns that game ever folds and this most consistent part of my life ever gets deleted. So I would like that to eventually be stored in a way that I actually own it, and I actually own that account, and I can take it with me even if that company no longer exists. So that alone keeps me motivated in building and trying to find ways to convince people that Web3 is actually can improve your life a lot long term. And the best way to do that, the best way to convince somebody that this will improve your life, is to give them money and come up with ways to improve their lives, right? So it's not play as many games of chess as you can and then you get 1 cent every time and let's just like juice this and go around in a circle. Like that's not what we built. It's not a play to earn game. The amount of time that you spend in it is not going to help you make more money. There's no token, there's no play to earn mechanics. And it's fine if you want to go build that and stuff, but that's not what I'm going for here. The people who are making the most money are Grandmaster Hikaru, who's one of the like top 5, probably maybe top 2, who knows, chess players in the world, who has a huge Twitch streaming audience, who has really enriched the lives of a lot of people by teaching them this amazing game. And he has a huge audience. There are lots of streamers that play chess on stream that have these great audiences, these great communities. And instead of just watching one of his games, now you can collect them. And there's a bunch of Hikaru games that are actually already on sale in the TreassureChess marketplace. And instead of just watching, now you have a way to interact with him directly, and he has a way to earn, and more streamers have ways to earn money so that they can spend more time doing the things that they love. So it's really designed for content creators, for community leaders, for people who are doing really interesting things in chess, and to amplify and support content creators and anyone who has done something really interesting in the chess world recently. So it's not play to earn. There's nothing like that. It's really a fun collectible, and the achievements of doing things in your games of chess make it more fun there too. And there's a lot of other experiences that we can start building on top of this stack that take these principles into account without being chess themed too.
That's what I wanted to bring up, is like, now that you have the Web3 Lite or Crypto Lite sort of package, and so it doesn't need to be, now you can take this model, because there's a lot of streamers in a lot of different sectors. So yeah, that it's going to be very exciting to see this.
Yeah, I'm excited to start working with some other big brands that are interested in what we're building. And a lot of brands have tried to jump into NFTs in the last year, and some of them have succeeded, but a lot have failed because they've had just huge backlash of people with misconceptions about NFTs, or they actually just built terrible products. And this is kind of the seamless in between, where you don't need people to show up with MetaMask. You don't need to convince people to do that. You can integrate our stack, which we're probably going to call Feather because it's so light, into your existing Web 2 products, because you can log in with your existing chess.com account to TreassureChess. You don't need to bring anything. The only thing you need to get started is a chess.com account, which everyone already has, who is, the target for this app.
So interesting. That's good, because that so I think you've answered some of my questions already. But so that is really important in the space, is this whole onboarding concept and what you're doing here with like the Web 2. So this is cool, because this is kind of the first I'm hearing about it. I didn't get that much of a chance to look into this that far, which is part of why I have questions for it, which I thought would make for a better show, having more questions. But yeah, so it's really important to kind of onboard people in the space, because it is very confusing when you first get started. Like, it's like, oh, well, what is this MetaMask thing? How does it work? What do I have this private key? If I lose this private key, I lose everything, right? Why do I have to pay the transaction fees? And so this is really interesting that you've found this way to kind of bridge the Web 2 concepts of, oh, you just have this account, you just log in, it's all there, right? Over kind of creating like an overlay almost, I guess you call it, to like Web 3. And I'm really excited now that you're packaging that to distribute, because that sounds like great, because that's like something a lot of protocols could use. Because a lot of these I feel like groups and protocols don't really need all of the kind of bare bones exposure, right? Like there's kind of been this long-term vision that Web3 will eventually get to the point where people don't realize they're using Web3, right? And that there'll be this underlying mechanism, but yet the overlayer will still mostly be kind of more familiar, comfortable Web2 type things. And it's awesome to see that you're actually starting to realize that vision, right? And build that out.
Yeah. A lot of people have had that assumption and been saying that for years. And now, for the first time, we have the technology to securely let people log in with Discord or log in with Twitter or Google or GitHub, even, and or really anything. So log in with your existing accounts and be given an Ethereum address that you can still control. So doing those kind of things securely, we finally have the ability to do that. We've had meta transactions and the ability to pay fees on behalf of people. We've had scalable L2s like Polygon and Arbitrum and Optimism. We've had that for a year or so, having them all like working very well. But no one has put together this entire stack yet, and it seems obvious when we talk about it and kind of say like, yeah, well, obviously people are going to want to use their existing accounts to access these better versions of your Web2 apps and have that kind of familiar user experience as an overlay. But no one's done it before, and we are. I shouldn't say that. There's other things that are similar, but I think ours is unique, and I'm very proud of that.
Can you give us some insight into how this works under the hood, though? So, like, what chain are you using, particularly for like TreassureChess?
TreassureChess is built on Polygon, so just because it's the most stable and transaction fees are low enough that we can pay for everyone's gas and pay everyone's transaction fees on their behalf. And I think that also makes it more environmentally friendly, because now the major like environmental cost of using Polygon is accessing the bridge, the Ethereum bridge over. And if you have to bridge your Matic over, now you're making a mainnet transaction that's very energy intensive, and nobody ever has to do that to interact with TreassureChess, right? Because we already have Matic, we already have the coins to pay for the transaction fees, so we're using a scalable chain that's energy efficient, and then also not requiring anyone ever use the bridge because we've just taken care of it.
And then how do you link a Ethereum address to a chess.com username? How does that process work?
Yeah, so we have a partner that's helping us do that called Taurus, and they are awesome. And it's really interesting how the cryptography in the back works. Is whenever you log in with Google, or you sign in with your Twitter account to some app, that has this whole OAuth flow of auth keys, and you have a public and a private key, and there's an app key when you do that. And those things kind of get hashed together into an Ethereum address. But it's a little bit more than that, because if you were to change your password, you can't change your Ethereum address every time somebody changes their password, right? So there's this whole signing, almost like a multi-signature wallet, that gives you permission to access this person's account, Ethereum account. And the people signing that are this like board of trusted validators that are all partners with Taurus. So like, yeah, is it totally trustless? No. Could it be in the future? I think so. But the point of this is that we'll get some criticism from crypto natives that say, oh, well, somebody else could potentially own your private keys, so you don't own your crypto, and that makes it unsafe. But this is a learning experience for people. This is the training wheels, right? You don't go ride your bike with the training wheels across the country. This is just like, we're teaching people how to ride a bike and teaching them these concepts, and now they can go download MetaMask later, and they already know a little bit more about how it works, because we've gotten their feet wet slowly in a way that is a lot more appealing than just pushing people off the cliff.
Yeah, interesting.
I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, it does. I still kind of, I think I got it. So you get Ethereum public address that's derived basically from your OAuth keys through traditional Web2 confirmations. I'm still a little confused on the private key. So there isn't a single private key. It's more of a multi-sig, and that sig is signed by various people who authenticate your OAuth keys, basically. Is that the gist?
Yeah, that's kind of the gist. A user does have their own private key, and on TreassureChess right now you cannot export it, but I'd like to be able to export it soon, and then you could take it with you wherever you want to go.
And the private key is just some combination of their OAuth keys somehow?
Yes, but in a way that's a lot more secure than just like doing a straight hash of the OAuth data.
Interesting. And then where's the private key stored? Is I guess my real question.
So we never get that for TreassureChess. Like it's not on the front end. You can't just touch that whenever you want. That lives on Taurus, and TreassureChess we never store anything like that. We don't have access to everybody's money. We're getting that from Taurus. And the other thing is we are probably the only app in all of Web3 ever that anyone's ever made that put $100 limit to what you can fund your account with. So you can add funds to your account whenever you want with a debit card, with your bank account, however you want to connect to our payment processors. And we put $100 limit on it because we are nice and we don't want anyone to get wrecked. We've designed every aspect about this to be fun and to be teachable, not for speculation, not for put as much into this as you can. No one is going to lose their rent money. Yeah, so basically everyone else has always optimized for greed. We're optimizing for user experience and focusing on that. So even if there's funds that you're concerned about not owning your keys, like an exchange like Coinbase, um, it's still a small amount of money, and the real value here is the onboarding and is the creating teachable moments.
I think I found my new onboarding noobs tool. Like the most annoying part is always MetaMask, setting up your wallet,
Yeah, absolutely.
pre-scolding people about being safe in how they manage their passwords and so on. So this is the path now. If you want to take somebody down the hole, if somebody doesn't have a chess.com account, it's very easy to get one, and then it's very easy to go to TreassureChess, link your account, and get on and be able to show them their address and what they can do with things and what they can do going forward without all of the technical sort of obstacles that you have to get through when you're traditionally onboarding a noob into Web3. So this is, I think we will be looking back at this in a few years or sooner as a big moment, as undoubtedly this pattern is going to start. I know Feather's going to be doing it, but this is going to be a big aha moment for a lot of people, I think.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what people build with Feather.
What are you looking forward to in the next 6 months to a year, Joseph, in the space in general, or even in gaming within Web3, which I know we have a mutual affinity for Avagachi, but in general, what are you looking towards and excited about?
What am I looking towards? Well, if it is a multi-year bear market from here, then I'm looking forward to all of the developers who have been very distracted by shiny things for a year, looking for real jobs, and then hiring the most top tier talent that I can in Web3 and just using that as a competitive advantage long term. So that's kind of on the TreassureChess side. We're hiring front end devs, starting to raise a funding round to build out Feather and kind of expand. So that will be happening soon. And then Moon Girl issue number 1 should be coming out in just a couple weeks here. So that will be really exciting too. And whatever happens next with that, I don't know. I don't know what the DAO will decide to do next, but I'm sure it will be awesome.
It's going to be a Moon Girl summer 2022.
It's going to be a Moon Girl summer.
Well, folks, you can follow CupOJoseph at CupOJoseph on Twitter. Check out HeroDAO at herodao.org. That's hero_DAO on Twitter. TreasureChess, treasure.chess.com Also, I know Nifty Chess is Joseph baby as well. Where can people find Nifty Chess?
niftychess.com, but that just has been absorbed by TreassureChess. So we also have treasurechess.com.
Ah,
So
many different paths.
yeah, lots of ways to find me.
Well, thank you for joining us, Joseph. I think in the future, as things build out, it's gonna be fun checking in with you, seeing how things are evolving. We'd love to have you on again.
Yeah, for sure.
If there's anything that you want to come on and talk about, we would certainly love to have you. So, folks, check out Treasure Chess. We'll see you over at HeroDAO, and thank you for tuning in.
Awesome. Thanks a lot.
This podcast is brought to you by Metagame. Visit us at metagame.wtf, wiki.metagame.wtf, and follow us on Twitter at Metafan. Metagame. Only if you stay up late at night. Well, Bacon, another fine interview in the books.
Indeed.
Very pleased to have had Joseph on, and he went pretty deep in a few of the projects that he's involved with. You know, we're starting to build up a nice cache of these shadowy supercoders that we're having on our show.
We're bringing them into the light. We're pulling them out of the shadows into the light.
Yeah, now between Deacon and Ross Campbell and now Joseph, I hope our audience realizes that we're bringing you some of the premier builders in this space, the creme de la creme. That's not to mention Penguin and Yaler, who are previous guests as well. Penguin, the one and only small flightless bird, will be on with us next week talking about Heroes of Evermore.
Yeah, pretty excited about that. I just bought my first hero just today, actually.
Oh, well, then you and I are going to go play right now, right after we get done recording this segment. So get ready for that, folks. That's Penguin of Mud.xyz, also known as Heroes of Evermore. We have a lot of fun stuff in terms of interviews and content and people that we will be having on in the future. So thank you for being with us. Thank you for listening. And for Bacon, I'm Chair. This has been Share What You're Making with Chair and Bacon.